What is up, fanboys and fangirls? Welcome back to another episode of TV Talk. This week we are chatting about Falcon and the Winter Soldier, episode 6, the season finale. One. Full spoilers ahead, so, watch or be warned. Go watch this episode, obviously, before you listen to us yab about it for 30 minutes.
While we ramble.
Do yourself a favor. It's I think it's a good episode of television. So, some dissent among the crowd. Tyler, why don't you lead us off with your hot take this week?
There's two good scenes in this episode.
Ooh.
That's my hot take. It feels disjointed. It doesn't feel like it's part of the same show to me. I did not enjoy it that much. But I do love Sam as Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all on board for that. I think he's great. I think his ideals are great as part of one of these scenes. And I really look forward to where his story goes next. Other than that, I don't really care.
Okay.
Bucky's good. I'm glad Bucky found his resolution. But I don't know. It just kind of fell flat to me. It's kind of paced all over the place. The end of episode 5 and the beginning of episode 6 like loosely line up, kind of like we were just teleported to New York in the middle of a fight kind of happening. Like, it's just, I don't know. It doesn't feel like it was filmed in like sequentially at all. Like, it just feels so weird to me.
Well, it probably wasn't.
Well, right. Like, I understand. I'm not stupid. I understand that movies and shows aren't filmed sequentially, but like just the way it's cut and put together, it just feels so weird.
So I'm gonna agree with you on a couple things there, Tyler. I think the pacing of this episode, like you said, all over the place. Luke, kind of when we were waiting for you to hop on, we were chatting, and he kind of made the point that it just kind of feels like the third act fight in one big episode. Like it's all the action and none of the build up, and all the build ups in episode 5. But just jumping straight into that in episode 6, it was jarring for me. I don't necessarily think that it's like, it's not that you can't do that. I think you may be able to get away with it, but everything just happened so fast in this episode just to really get it going that between how fast it started and then how some of the fight editing was done and, following the different characters around, it did make it a little harder for me to really wrap my head around the first half of this episode.
Yes.
Especially where people were by the time it gets to kind of to like the final encounters. It's everyone's kind of back together, and so it's a little easier to, okay, I can really piece together where everyone is at. But like for the longest time, I didn't understand why there were people in helicopters, why there were people in the trucks, like why was everyone split up and going different directions, and it felt just like they're doing it so they can have each of the characters have their own little things going on.
Yeah.
The scene
was the Flag Smashers' plan just to negotiate with hostages? Is that all they were trying to do? Just to prevent a vote?
Well, yeah, and this is where I think like the Flag Smashers week after week have gone up and down for, I know, Tyler and I, in terms of like what's their deal.
They were the peak 4. Episode 4 is their peak.
Yeah, and just like I didn't get exactly what Carly's plan was either.
Don't worry, neither did she.
But anyways, before I ramble on too long, Luke, what were your initial thoughts on the final episode?
I liked it. I enjoyed it. I thought the action was good. I didn't have any trouble following. I thought the Flag Smashers' plan wasn't that interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, they were just trying to get all the voters into a different location so they could kind of coerce them into not voting to change all the borders, and they wanted to have their one world, one people thing kind of be the influence. But I never had really any issue with that, so maybe that's just why I enjoyed it a little bit more than I think you guys. Um, I think I didn't even really have any pacing issues because for me, like it was just kind of like when I was talking with you earlier, is the third act fight,
Mm-hmm.
and then you get the closure in the end with Sam's speech, and then kind of going to visit Isaiah and um, Bucky with his resolution at the end. Um, and it worked for me. My issues are more Sharon Carter related and just the Flag Smashers plan is, yeah, like I agree with Tyler. They peaked in 4, and then their entire plot line kind of got shredded in 5, and then in 6, this finale, you just honestly you don't care about it.
Yeah.
You're
Yep.
just there to watch. You're there to watch Sam become Captain America.
Yeah.
And I thought they nailed that. Also, his suit is incredible.
Yeah.
He nailed it. Perfect. It's perfect.
I think they could have done a little bit better on him becoming Captain America, right? Like we see him open the box at the end of episode 5, but like and he talks about struggling with being Captain America, but like we don't get that moment where he puts it on and he's like, "Man, I'm really going to do this. Like this is the moment. This is me doing it." It's just the episode starts and he flies in and you're like, "Oh, okay. Yep, we're here. All right, let's punch things." And like to me, I don't know, for a show that was really trying to push on some political pull on some political strings and really kind of deal with the levity of being Captain America and being black. Like I feel like that could have been a moment. You know what I mean? Like that could have been their no man's land moment.
Mm.
And they just never really go there. And I guess that's me setting expectations too high for myself. Like what they gave us was fine, but like I really think they could have done something powerful. And and we get a powerful moment later, and actually I was crying during his speech. I was really like I was literally crying in my basement.
Yeah.
Like, man, this is what it's about. Like this is what being Captain America is
Mm-hmm.
for him. And like look, I don't have powers, but I believe we can be better. I was a mess. Just immediately a mess. And like I love that, but I really would have liked to see him like struggle with putting on that suit and being like, "No, I can't do this. Like this is I can't do it." Because he struggles with it the whole season.
I think that's exactly why they don't need to do it. They've done it all season, and then this episode is the moment. All right, I have to do this.
And
I'm the last option.
yeah, and for me, because I think when the initial reveal, you're kind of caught up in like, oh, that suit looks dope, and I was kind of with you, Tyler, at the beginning of the episode. But by the time he gets to his speech, what I think I realized is that what I feel like I've been seeing in media, what we've been hearing in media from black characters, is that our lives are the struggle, and we just have to take it sometimes. Like I'm gonna become Captain America. I'm gonna take the shield. It's not a thing that I'm like. It's
Nobody's gonna give me the
no
right
one's.
to do it. I
I'm
just
not
need
gonna
to
wait
do
for
it.
permission.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take it because if I've waited my entire life and the system is built so that I always say get a no, right? The system always denies me, and so him in that speech at the end was that moment for me. Now I think it does kind of feel out of order. Sometimes it can feel out of order based on how we've seen heroes shown in the past. But it did in that moment. It was like, okay, no, I get it. So that'd be my 2 cents on that, kind of, because I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, I mean, I can agree with both of you there. Like, I agree with Luke. It is cool that he just did it, and we watched him struggle with it all season. But like, I guess that moment of like, I'm just gonna do this.
Mm-hmm.
There is that moment isn't there. Like he's just in.
I'd say the moment is actually in the 5th episode.
When he opens the box.
No, when he's training with the Shield.
Oh, I guess
think
that's true.
the decision's already been made.
Yeah, I think
I guess that's true. I didn't think about that.
if
You fixed me, Luke. Thank you.
again, like, and I think this is where it comes down, like, to the pacing of things, because you're absolutely right. That moment is in 5, and had 5 and 6 been like released together, I don't think we would be having these conversations about pacing and those moments feeling like they're missed, because we wouldn't have had to wait a week before seeing them.
Yeah.
So
I think the biggest downfall, honestly, of this show is that the week to week break.
Wait. Yeah.
Yeah, the wait. I think it hurts the show. I think it'd be so much better as a binge. Like
yes.
that's how Netflix even frames their shows.
Yeah.
And I feel like this might kind of fall into that,
Mhm.
but it separates it week to week.
Yeah.
Like make it a long. It's essentially a long movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you guys? Oh, go ahead.
No, so this really isn't Falcon Winter Soldier related. It's more Disney Plus related. But I just want to ask you because I'm pretty sure it's not my TV. Do every show on Disney Plus just seem dark to you?
I wouldn't say
'Cause
so.
I feel like I'm turning my brightness up so much on my TV.
I noticed
and I feel like sometimes
I noticed it this
I
week.
can't see.
I noticed this week. I felt like it was dark, but it's everything except like the epilogue is entirely shot at night. So
Yeah.
I feel like I noticed it this week, where about halfway through, after we had finished dinner, because we'd do our date night and we order some Grubhub and food delivered, and then we eat while we're watching, and then like after we were done with eating, I needed to turn off the overhead lights because it was kind of murky. I don't know how to describe.
I've noticed that in WandaVision and Mandalorian so far. I always just think, wow, this looks so dark during mainly the night stuff. Yeah.
So my TV like auto adjusts when I switch between certain things.
Same.
And yeah, so I guess the only time I really noticed it was the helicopter stuff. Like that stuff was super dark, like visually. Like it was kind of hard to see what was going on at times, but
that was a great sequence though.
Yeah, it was an awesome sequence. Yeah, the action in this episode's great. I don't let my complaints fool you. There is still quite a bit of good in this. I just have some other issues with it. But no, the action in this was awesome. I would have liked to see a little bit more of Bucky and kind of, him fighting. He was kind of just...
He went on a little motorcycle chase.
He had an awesome stunt, though. His motorcycle launch, that made me go, oh.
That was really cool. Like, I saw him rolling up. I was like, is he going to... I thought he was going to jump off and let it roll right into that dude, but then they put the barriers up.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, he's about to ghost ride that motorcycle into that dude's face. But then he ghost rided himself into his face. It's awesome. Yeah, no, that sequence was cool. I guess I don't know if Brett was getting ready to ask this question, but are we is John Walker a good guy now? Like, did we?
That is exactly what I was gonna. How do you feel about John Walker?
Did we just move past him cutting somebody's head off with the shield 2 weeks ago? Or I mean, like Bucky and Falcon just didn't even. I mean, or Captain America. Sorry, that's gonna take a second for me to get used to saying. He definitely did not even address it. They're just like, yeah, no, come help us fight, bro. You're getting beat up. I should leave you there. No, I'll help you out. Like, it was really weird to me. I was so confused. Did I miss something?
No, not at all.
And this is a serious question, not a sarcastic question. I thought maybe I missed something. Like, I really did. Like, I rewinded it because I was like missing something here. Like, there's a conversation or a look or a nod or something.
So going back to episode 5, and again, this is the week apart, the pacing issues. I think when he's talking with Battlestar's parents is when he makes the decision to not hold a vendetta against Sam and Bucky, but he's still very much out for revenge, and he's towing that line, I think, but they don't do a good job of explaining it. And so I too was a little bit like, oh, we're doing the redemption thing already.
So if he's out for revenge, like, why aren't Bucky and Sam trying to knock that fool out right now?
Enemy of my enemy is my friend. I would,
But
but also it's not necessarily clear in the middle of a fight that he's out for revenge. He is doing what he can to protect a few people.
yeah, no, it was nice to see him try to be a hero.
Yeah.
That was cool.
I actually don't dislike the character turn. I was not expecting it to happen in one episode, and then still at the end of this episode be revealed that he's gonna be U.S. agent. I'm very confused at where they're going with his character. So we'll see, I guess.
I assume he's the Rick Flag of the Thunderbolts. He's like the kind of good guy, not really good guy.
Yeah.
Thing that they're going for.
The good guy who's not afraid to get his hands a little dirty.
Yeah.
I could see that.
I don't know if it was on purpose or not. I do think that it was one of the weaker parts of the episode with him. But just like him deciding not to go chase down Carly and save the people was like just a hint that he is still kind of got good in him.
Yeah.
But he's still an antagonist. And Hydra's going to bring that out in full force.
Well, he's got his black and red suit that we talked about. And remember, I kind of said he's going to be Captain Hydra. We're on our way.
So, Luke, you kind of mentioned that he's still an antagonist. And you're right. What I think it was so weird for me, not to keep harping on this episode, but I feel like
We'll get to the good soon.
All the antagonists in this series, nothing interesting happens with them. At the end of episode 5, we get rid of Zemo. At the, midway through episode 6, we realize that, like, John Walker's maybe not, like, they're not going to fight, right? He's not the bad guy we thought he was.
He's not that bad.
The Flag Smashers are the brute force they have to fight, but their motivation is maybe not cloudy. I mean, we understand that they're taking hostages, but it's certainly not as intriguing as I expected it to be. And Sharon Carter still has a big old question mark over her head.
I'm going to raise my hand and ask a question. The Flag Smasher Super Soldier story kind of just kind of went away.
Is that a question?
There was no. I did not.
Yeah, I guess more a statement. I don't really know where that went. That was kind of strange.
Yeah, they set up a little more mystery
resolved
there with a shot of an old man overseeing the bombing of that truck.
Zemo's dad. No, I'm just kidding.
Wasn't it his butler?
I think so.
Stephanie and I.
It's implied.
Stephanie and I. Oh, it could have been. I didn't put that together. But Stephanie and I did look at
gloves on, man.
We did look at each other and we were like, Alfred. We're like, Bruce Wayne's coming here. Look out, Batman.
Yeah, Brett, you were getting ready to get into. I guess this would probably be the last negative for me. It sounds like it might be one of the few negatives for Luke. Old Sharon Carter and that whole bit.
Mm-hmm.
Brett was right.
Called it.
Good job. However, that was awful. There's ways to do that, and it's okay. That was bad.
Her character was terrible.
Horrible.
Just horrible. And then
horrible.
What's even worse is we get no Torres in this episode.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised they sidelined Torres, except for
he was watching the computer screen.
Yeah, exactly.
He was watching the news.
There wasn't even. I was kind of hoping like there was even if he's removed like that, like I wanted to see him like working on a set of wings while he was watching or something,
Yeah.
but no,
Yeah.
just there in his military garb in front of the Humvee or whatever.
Laying
Yep.
on the ground watching TV like a kid.
The whole Sharon Carter being power broker, I've complained about it ever since Brett brought it up. He was right, and I hate every part of it. However, I am 1000% sure that I am right too. She's absolutely a Skrull, and she's amassing power.
Honestly, I was just
Getting
glad.
weapons.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it's an accurate angle. She's going to be in Secret Invasion, I'm sure. That'll be the
Mhm.
next reveal. But like, I
Because
wonder.
also, she was about to die, and she's not like trying to protect America or the world or anything. She's worried about her dying because if she dies, the secret is exposed. She'll turn back into an alien.
Mm.
Good
And so
theory.
when she was
Good
screaming,
theory.
"No, Carly, don't," she's like, "Crap! If I die here, they're gonna know about our plan, and I'm kind of the person that's kicking off this invasion, getting weapons, getting inside the U.S. government, probably
see-
getting eventually somebody inside the Avengers."
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is my issue with that theory is if the internet goes into an absolute crap storm over what they did with her character, they can do that even if it wasn't the plan.
Mm.
I think
They'll
it's
be like, yeah, she was a Skrull. It's cool.
I think it's
like-
absolutely the plan, though.
I think there's a good chance it is the plan.
It sounds right.
Unfortunately, I've harped on this every time it's been brought up. I so dislike that ex machina of, hey, we're gonna make a character that you know and like do bad things. Oh, it's not actually them. And I understand that Secret Invasion is like a big storyline in Marvel. So
It's gonna be sick too.
I'm writing it
Sorry.
out. I'm writing it out. I'm putting my faith in them for now that they'll pull it off. But yeah, I don't have a strong connection with Sharon Carter. I would be fine with her turning evil if they gave me good reasons for it, if they made it a compelling story. The problem in this series is they don't ever give you that. So it feels weird, and I don't particularly like it, even though I was right on my prediction. But what if
Yeah.
she is a Skrull? What has happened to the real Sharon Carter?
She's being held captive somewhere, and they're gonna find her, and they're gonna be like, "What the heck?" I'm pretty sure too. It was confirmed she got blipped,
Oh,
so her backstory is kind of a lie.
hmm.
So that should be, I think, be a red flag. Obviously they could retcon that easy.
Yeah. Oh, for
but
sure. I think you're right, Luke. Honestly, I think you're hitting the nail on the head. I like when you vocalize it. It literally sounds perfect for what they're doing. I was happy to see that there wasn't a Skrull reveal
Yes.
as like a post-credit scene or something. Like that was kind of nice. I appreciated that.
Yeah, I think I'm still curious if an Avenger will be a Skrull. I'd be curious which one it would be.
It'll be Hawkeye because he's going away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm either they'll find a Sharon Carter in a warehouse somewhere, or they'll kill Sharon Carter will die and she'll turn all green and wrinkly, and they'll be like, "What the freaking crap is this nonsense?"
The one
Yeah.
thing, yeah, I do think Marvel does a pretty good job of giving their characters some sort of, sign off or farewell, or like I don't think that Sharon Carter is just dead in a ditch somewhere. There's only the Skrull version running around. I think you're right, Luke. There'll be a discovery she's a Skrull. Oh, we'll find her, coincidentally the same movie type thing. And then she'll have a chance to redeem herself. I mean, not really, because it wasn't her, but the character to the audience. Okay, this is the Sharon Carter we know and love, even though we've only seen her in 2 movies and Or we barely know her outside of the comics, I guess. But
Sharon Carter, I hardly know her.
I would anticipate her being around a little bit, probably in a minor role capacity in one of the feature films.
I'm sure here in 2-3 weeks we'll get Emily Van Camp has joined
Secret
Samuel
Invasion.
L. Jackson and Emilia Clarke in Secret Invasion on Disney+.
Yeah, probably.
All right, enough bad. Let's talk good. Sam's suit, obviously, we all already said is
Yep.
great, but his speech, man,
It was so good.
his speech. I already said I was boohooing in my basement this morning like a child. It was
So
just
well
powerful,
written.
man.
So well written and so well performed by Anthony Mackie too.
Yes.
Yeah, he's really good. I like him a lot. I'm excited for him to officially take the mantle and run with it. But man, I just love the ideals, like the whole like my superpower is that I think we can be better.
Mhm.
And I just love that. Like to me, like it's a very non-1940s version of Captain America.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we can do better. Like that's all there is to it. You know,
Mhm.
and I just it applies in the show. It applies in real life. I think it applies in everybody personally, their life. Like I just think it resonated with me. I liked it a lot. Like I'm a huge fan of that whole moment.
Yeah, I think the part that really stood out to me was when he, don't call them terrorists.
Yeah.
These labels. What are we doing with these labels? I've been labeled
It's our
as
yeah.
You label them that so you don't have to ask the question
Yeah.
why.
Yep.
Yeah.
I thought that was a fantastic moment of writing, and again, the performance matched it.
Mm-hmm.
And that that going into the okay, you as a representative of the people, that's what government is supposed to be, a representation of the people. You have to have the people in the room when you make those decisions, and you have to be willing to make the hard decisions. And that is something that I think a lot of times we experience all over the world in our governments day to day. So it's an ideal to strive for, which that is what Captain America is been to me, is an ideal to strive for. Even if, they don't always make the right decisions, or they're making decisions and they're making the hard decisions.
This was their what is grief if not love persevering moment. Except it was 1,000 times better.
Yes.
Yep.
Why aren't we tweeting about this?
Yeah. Agreed.
Exactly.
Gosh, man, that scene was so good. Like they could have made the finale that scene and the Isaiah scene, and I'd have been like, cool. I love it. I don't need anything else. That's perfect. Gosh, dude. I'm gonna watch. I've watched it twice this morning. I'm gonna do it again. Just those two scenes.
The speech.
Yep.
Those scenes.
I've watched both of those scenes twice. Yeah.
Yeah. So good.
They're so good.
Well, then Tyler, you mentioned earlier the memorial and the that was a nice little bit of closure. When we talk about pacing, this is one of those things I've never had a problem with, but like this, much like Lord of the Rings, has about 13 endings. Places where the show could end and it would be fine, but like, okay, fade to black, fade back in, fade to black, fade back in. But I loved all of the little tie-ups for all the characters. I think they all worked really well. And we got to see closure for just about everyone. So that was it was cool.
The like when he goes to see Isaiah and he's like, Malcolm and Martin, but you're all right. I loved that so much. That scene, those scenes with him and Isaiah are always really good. I think they're some of the stronger parts of the show as a whole. But the final scene between them is great, and that like it's kind of heavy-handed, but I really like it. Like at the end of the house in Baltimore, he's like, "Man, you never let up, do you?" And he's like, "Nope." And then of course, 35 seconds later, he's hugging him and crying, and it's like, okay, yeah, he's let
Mm.
up. Like he finally has his moment to deal with all the pain he's been harboring, and I just, man, it's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. Again, I started crying. I'm like, man, I hate this show. I don't want to cry this much. But dude, it's so good. Like those scenes are so powerful and so moving, and like it's here. This is another that moment for me. Like Isaiah's story as a whole throughout the whole season. I'm rambling now, but I have to get this out. Is a Watchmen moment. When we learned about Black Wall Street and Watchmen, and it kind of blew our minds. We're like, holy crap, how did we not know about this?
Yep.
All three of us live like 2 hours from there, and we've never even heard of it, or at least I
No, I
hadn't.
hadn't.
Had you guys heard of like the Tuskegee experiments?
Mm-mm.
I hadn't heard of the experience. No.
Google that. I think it was Tuskegee, but the Isaiah Bradley super soldier story is based on that. And it was during the war, they would test, like, I think it was STDs. They would inject black people with STDs, like in the military. Dude, it's insane. It's the craziest thing I've ever read in my life that I did not know about. And like,
Oh yeah.
it's absolutely nuts, and that's what Isaiah's story is. It's
It-
just
Mhm.
instead of an STD, it's
The
a super
serum,
soldier
yeah.
serum.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, how are these things not things we know about? Why is it taking
Yeah.
superhero television shows to teach us about our own history? Like, that's terrible. And kudos to every single superhero show, to every single form of media who's willing to bring those things to light, because
Yeah.
it's stuff that we need to know.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it just makes those moments that much better.
Mm-hmm. Dang, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, look it up and
The
read
most
about it. It's
arguably
absolutely nuts.
arguably the most infamous biomedical research study in U.S. history. Wow. 1932 to 1972.
Yep.
The 70s.
40 years.
The 70s.
I talked about on the podcast last week, in the 90s, Tiger couldn't play at certain golf courses because he was black.
Yeah.
Like, how much of this stuff has been covered up?
A lot.
The people who win the wars write the history books, right?
Yep.
That statement rings so true, and I think about it a lot.
Mhm.
It's really sad. There's
Yep.
a lot of things that we just will never know about.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Sorry, rant over.
No, that was good, and
apologize.
Good rant.
that was a great
Good rant.
rant. Was there anything else in the closing that you wanted to talk about in regards to the season as a whole, or just this episode?
It's a fanboy worthy for me. I liked it a lot. I had a good time watching it. It kind of, WandaVision did this too. It kind of stumbled a little bit towards the end, but all in all, it's a good season of television. I'll watch it again.
Yeah.
Like when Captain America 4, which has now been confirmed, is getting ready to come out, I'll probably watch this again leading up to it.
Yeah. Same.
I would also give it a fanboy worthy, and then a strong fanboy worthy at that. It's easily
Yes,
a fanboy worthy.
I agree.
Yep.
I guess it's a really small detail. Everybody probably saw it coming, but just to see Captain America and the Winter
Yeah.
Soldier
Yeah.
as the final title card,
Mhm.
it just felt so good to
Yep.
see that.
Yep.
I
I would agree.
I just, at work, I get on Instagram when I'm on my break or something, and I saw Marvel confirms Captain America 4 is in the works, and I hadn't had time to watch the episode yet, and that's just a really happy spoiler to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't even really consider it a spoiler. Everybody kind of assumed he was going to be Cap. He should be Cap, and now he is Cap. And when I saw like Rotten Tomatoes posts, I was just like, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. It's time for another Captain America movie, and I'm really glad that Anthony Mackie, Sam Wilson gets to continue that on in the film.
It's to lead that.
Yeah, I loved I loved when Bucky was like, "Good job, Cap."
Yes.
I was like,
Dude,
"Oh,
yes.
let's
Good.
go." It was a really quick like passing line, but it was really good.
Yeah.
Like
Or
it was
like
one of those moments.
the senator's like, "Hey, Cap,"
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he just doesn't react to it, and Bucky's like, "He's talking to you, man." Or maybe
And he
it's
has
Jerry.
that big smile.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It's
love
so
that.
it's
And I
just
love
so
that
great
Bucky's
to see.
okay with it.
Yeah.
Yes, Bucky, I do think we kind of talked about, Bucky not having a ton to do this episode. Um, it's so good to see him like happy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I wish we had gotten a little more with his closure scenes. I kind of wanted to be in the room when
He
he
said it.
said, he kind of says, I killed your son, or the Winter Soldier murdered your son, and that was me. I wanted to see that really work out, but it had already been so much of an emotional episode that I probably don't know if I could have taken that much more. But yeah, I'm very curious to what they're doing with him next.
Yeah.
Because this is
Gonna be in Captain America 4, baby.
this would be a fine wrap up for him, I think, in terms of where his character is at. But I want to see more because he has just got such good charisma, and I'm so glad
Yeah.
we're past the serious Bucky phase. It was good.
Well,
It
Yeah.
was good, but this is better.
The Falcon and the Winter Soldier show will continue just with Torres, hopefully.
Does he? Okay, in the comics, I'm not a Marvel comics deep lore guy. Does he ever get a different name? I was kind of surprised they kept the Winter Soldier moniker for him.
He gets the Captain America moniker,
Yeah,
but they aren't
they
gonna
won't do that for
yeah.
him.
No. He kind of just goes by Bucky Barnes, I think.
Okay,
He's just Bucky.
yeah. So they'll just keep calling him the Winter Soldier, I guess, in marketing at least.
Sweet name.
It is.
It is a really cool name.
It is. Well, and
Yeah,
maybe with
I
the
know.
maybe with the whole like check mark off his lists and that kind of redemption turn, maybe he feels like he's redeemed the Winter Soldier name or is redeeming the Winter Soldier name, and so that's
Yeah.
he doesn't have to drop it. But I don't know. We'll see.
Yep.
It'll be interesting.
Notable aliases: Bucky, Winter Soldier, and Captain America.
Okay.
So,
You know what I think they should do with him? Call me crazy. He should be
You're crazy.
the guy. Thanks, man. He should be the guy who is at Avengers HQ training the young Avengers. I think that should be his role because now he's hilarious.
That he could
He's
do
been
that
he's
really
been
well.
to hell and back, like mentally and physically as a person. He's a super soldier, so he can train with those guys and not take a ton of damage. He can help shape them into a team, and he's a soldier. Like he can teach them to be soldiers, but good soldiers. I think that'd be a good place for him. And I mean, I don't know how affordable Sebastian Stan's going to be for a while. He's going to get pretty big, I think, pretty quick.
But yeah, they'll probably.
I mean, Disney's got unlimited
Right.
money, but
they'll just sign.
But
They'll
you know
just
what I
sign
mean.
like a multi franchise thing where it's like, okay, we're gonna sign you on some
Yeah.
Star Wars things for young Luke Skywalker, and then we'll give you if you do that, well, and he'll be like, okay, I'll give you a discount on me if you at least sign me up for 3 things.
Yeah, maybe. He's going to be the next announcement for Indiana Jones.
Here for that. I'm here for that.
But no, all in all, I think it was a good season. If they continue a season 2, I'll watch it, for sure. But
same, definitely.
I'm excited for Captain America 4.
Yeah.
Like I truly am. I cannot wait to see when Disney's willing to address real world issues. I think they do a good job.
Yeah.
And so I look forward to that in Captain America 4.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that's a good place to end the episode this week. Thank you all for watching. Tune in next week as we do our season recap of Invincible over on Amazon Prime.
Whoop.
If you haven't been
Whoop.
watching that, go give it a shot. It's
Brace yourself.
yeah, brace yourself. It's not Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It is very different. But yeah, we'll have a lot of fun talking about
amazing.
that next week. This week's episode, banger.
Oh my gosh,
So,
yeah. Super good.
And until then, you can catch the podcast or our live streams. We live stream over on Twitch Monday nights at 8 p.m. Central Time. Twitch.tv
I'm hanging out.
What the Fanboy. Come chat with us. We love it. And if you can't make that, you can always watch the segments on YouTube later in the week or check out the podcast, which is just the entire show, just in audio format. So we would love to have you, and follow us on socials at What the Fanboy. Until next week, we'll see you guys.
See you guys.
See ya.